It is one of the oldest and most profound debates in human history. Does goodness come from God, or is it hardwired into our DNA? To understand this tension, we first have to define the players. Morality is the system of principles, knowing the difference between right and wrong. Religion is a system of beliefs and practices centered around a transcendent reality, God. It is a way of living by rules and regulations. But here is the billion-dollar question. Did religion invent the rules, or did it just hijack them? Let's look at the timeline. Humans have existed for roughly 200,000 to 300,000 years. But the evidence of organized religious practice, that only appears much later, roughly 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. This leads to the scientific consensus. Religion didn't invent rules like "don't steal" or "don't kill." It simply provided a more powerful enforcement mechanism for rules that already existed. If morality only came from religion, then animals should be completely amoral savages. But biology tells a different story. Chimpanzees show empathy, consoling defeated peers after a fight. Vampire bats will actually share blood with hungry, non-family bats, expecting the favor to be returned later. And capuchin monkeys, they demonstrate an innate sense of inequality. If they see a peer get a better treat for the same task, they will reject their own food in protest. Evolutionary biologists argue that morality is actually a survival mechanism. Long before we wrote holy books, we were social animals. We learned to cooperate to survive. 2,000 years ago, the Greek philosopher Plato asked a simple but devastating question. Is something good because God commands it? Or does God command it because it is good? Plato argued that moral truths are like mathematical truths. We don't invent math, we discover it. In the same way, we discover moral truths through reason. Secular morality argues that because we can suffer and feel happiness, we have an obligation to treat others with care. We agree to follow rules not because of the threat of hellfire, but because of the social contract. We want to live in a society where our own property is safe, so we agree not to steal yours. The moral action is simply the one that maximizes well-being for the greatest number of people. This sounds perfect, logical, clean. But there is a massive philosophical hole in evolutionary morality. Science and evolution can describe what is, the facts. They cannot tell us what ought to be, the values. In nature, the strong kill the weak. Male lions will kill the cubs of rival males to ensure their own genetic dominance. If morality is just based on evolution, we cannot call the lion evil. It's just following its biology. But humans do judge behavior. We say protecting the weak is good, even though biologically speaking, protecting the weak is expensive and risky. Religion provides the command to go against our darker biological instincts. Historian Tom Holland argues that values like all humans are equal are not self-evident in nature. They are a distinct legacy of religious thinking. If you remove the religious root, the idea that humans have a soul or divine spark, the logical fruit that humans have rights might eventually wither away. Without a higher authority, rights are just permission given by the state. And what the state gives, the state can take away. If a society decides tomorrow that killing a minority group helps the majority survive, an evolutionary view has a hard time explaining why that is objectively wrong. It's just a different survival strategy. And remember the timeline argument. While temples are new, spiritual thinking is old. Intentional burials with grave goods, suggesting belief in an afterlife, date back 100,000 years. We have always been looking for something more. Let's simplify this with a thought experiment. Imagine 10 people stuck on an island with limited food. 9 of them follow moral values. The 10th is a savage, and he has a gun. He wants to kill the other 9 to ensure his own survival. Now, try to reason with him using only secular morality. You can't. Killing the 9 increases his resources. It ensures his survival. And since he has the gun, he faces 0 negative consequences. In a purely materialist world, with no God and no afterlife, the gunman's logic is terrifyingly sound. He wins. Religion changes the math. If death is not the end, then surviving longer is no longer the ultimate win condition. Because even if he survives the island, he will face a divine judge. The philosopher Glaucon told a similar story about a shepherd named Gyges who found a magical ring that made him invisible. Once he realized he could do anything without being seen, he didn't become a hero. He raped the queen, killed the king, and took over the kingdom. Why? Because the fear of punishment was removed. Without a higher authority, God, karma, or a cosmic observer, to see the invisible man, there is no rational reason for him to be good if he can get away with being bad. This brings us to the conclusion. If you believe morality is just a social tool to keep us from killing each other, then religion is unnecessary. The police and empathy are enough, but if you believe that the savage on the island is truly wrong, if you believe that morality is like physics, a set of laws built into the universe that we discover, not decide, then you are implicitly accepting a worldview that requires something higher than humanity. What do you think? Is good a biological instinct or a divine command? Let me know in the comments below.